the hidden meanings, and as far as we go. And I get to work on it.
Right away, huh?
Yeah.
If I'm gonna play this role.
Yeah, because it's not about anything but communication and the message. It's not for my personal aggrandizement. It's for us.
When you are actually in the position of having people respond to you as a movie star, and as you were putting it a few moments ago to me off the air, you pretty much just keep your nose to the grindstone and work. It takes me back to wondering, what was your initial goal? What led you to this particular area and profession initially?
To be an actor or an actress, as some people say. I remember when I was very small, in the Stanley Holmes village of Atlantic City, New Jersey, I like to imitate people, and I was good at that. And
who were you imitating?
I was imitating mostly singers, because I wasn't exposed to actresses.
Okay.
I was imitating Billie Holiday, Sarah Vaughan. Couldn't do Ella too well, but Dinah Washington. And people would listen. I said, this is something I do well, I guess. And then I would go to the movies with my parents, who were still very small, and I would see actresses, and they're mostly white actresses in the big films, and they would project every human emotion, and I said, I could do that. But I always wanted to project what I was feeling around me, in my community, in my family, the people in my neighborhood. I wanted to do them. And at that early age, I said, someday I'm going to project my people. That's what I'm going to do, and I'm going to do it well. And I never wavered from that.
Well, how old were you at that time?
Oh, 5, 6.
Goodness gracious.
I was a tyke. And that's what it's always been to me.
I see.
Because I grew up with a lot of love in my community, in my neighborhood, which at the time was segregated. And I was fed by it. I was nurtured by it, and I wanted to project it as the other projected, their drama.
Yes.
And I was able to witness the musical aspect of our personalities, which were those black movies they used to have. I don't know if you were around then.
You mean Stormy Weather?
Yeah, but I used to, and I was thrilled by that, the beauty and the talent there, but I always felt there's more, and I will be the one to bring that. And I'm still trying to do that,
Something happened in the last interview, and when I was talking with Gloria Diane Tyrell Lowry, who does dramatic interpretations and so forth, and we were talking about Harriet Tubman. You have that kind of warrior spirit, of that kind of character. Who would you really like to play if you were going to choose a role to play out of our history? I mean, who would it be?
I'm often asked that question, and I never really think of a specific person, because sometimes it's the person, it's the warrior woman, the heroine, the strong woman that hasn't made history. It could be someone who works and raises a couple of children against all odds, or who's overcome some sort of obstacle, being an African living in America. I never really think. I think the historical figures have been done very well. I mean, I don't think they could be done better than Cicely Tyson.
Yes, understood.
And I think sometimes of doing maybe a Maroon, a Jamaican woman, or an African woman on the African continent. I never can pinpoint a specific role.
So you're kind of like you're a Richard Pryor fan. In terms of the naturalization of capturing the human side of us as a people.
Yes.
Just the everyday person who maybe is within that struggle context. Yeah.
Yes.
If we were to, I guess, take a look at your own decisions, you made one that was a very critical one, and that one was to move from the East Coast to the West Coast. I'd like to talk with you about how you made that move and what that experience has been like for you.
Well, I moved out to the coast. I was there to do a film, Uptown Saturday Night, in '73, the winter. And
So you left the East Coast in the wintertime. I see,
right.
okay.
And I worked on that film for about 8 weeks maybe, and decided to stay around because it was so cold in New York. And I really don't care for cold weather. I'm really a tropical person.
Okay.
I don't miss the seasons, y'all. I really don't. But and there were some other things going on in my life, but I really felt I was a New Yorker, and I was just visiting there, and I would never live there, you know. I mean, I felt like I wasn't an artist unless I was in New York, you know, an actor, you know, with the slings and arrows of New York City.
Yes.
But I liked the quiet time and the sort of a peace I found out there by being by myself. And there was nothing to define who I was out there. Because back here, you know, I was an actress, and I was this person's mate, and I was, you know, sister and the daughter. Out there, I was so alone that it became a meditative state, which made me face a lot of things about myself, because I've been like on wheels in New York, you know.
Yeah.
If I wasn't rushing about and accomplishing and, you know, and knocking them down and knocking them dead, I didn't feel like I was really effective. I got real still out in L.A. Nothing else to do.
I was going to say.
I'm kidding.
Right?
But
you know, you managed, you know, when I mentioned a moment ago that you did 13 movies, I mean, look, there aren't necessarily a great number of actors out in L.A. who can say that they've done 13
I did
movies.
6 of them here while I was living here.
So there was a division then.
They used to fly me out to do those movies.
Well, no, how would that happen? I mean, how do you
In the
want
late
to do that?
60s and the early 70s.
Yes.
They were giving us a lot of films.
Okay.
They were sending first-class round trip,
Mm-hmm.
limousines, putting you up at hotels. They don't do that anymore. Only
Yes.
4, maybe 2 of us that
Okay.
we see on the silver screen.
Yes.
But 5 of them I know for sure I did while I was living in New York and still involved.
So you were coming back from
I
the
was
West Coast.
commuting, yeah.
Yeah.
But by 73, and Poitier asked me to play his wife in Uptown Saturday Night, I made the move to L.A., which I thought was temporary, and then I started doing some of the situation comedies, What's Happening, Good Times. I even did a Mary Tyler Moore during that, to say from 73 to 75 maybe.
Okay.
And that was moving along, and then it stopped. The hiring just screech, you know, and there I was. And I think that's when the epiphany occurred. It was like around between, say, 75 and 77. I saw that no one was going to give us work, and I began to reassess my place in this so-called industry and what it meant and how I was regarded and how it defined me and all that.
What conclusions did you come to?
That I would be all right without the industry, and I would pretty much work as an actor, as a communicator, on my own terms. So I didn't work. I didn't work for a couple of years, and I lost the house I was living in, and they were talking about repossessing my car. I said, take the car, you know.
In L.A., that's a serious statement.
Oh, hey.
Goodness.
Yeah.
That's like saying, take my arm, you know, literally, yeah.
Yeah, and I did venture to Europe to do a film.
Okay.
I ran into some incredible racism over there, which slapped me down, and I was starring in a film there. And came back here and didn't work for several months. And John Hendricks gave me a role in Evolution of the Blues in California. It was the first job I had in a couple of years, and I wasn't making the kind of movie money I was used to making.
Right.
But it was fun doing the musical chronicle of our music from, slavery up to jazz. He stopped at jazz, because John Hendricks,
Hey, hello.
jazz.
That's right.
But I had sung with John in the 50s when I was going to acting school. I had worked with him on a lot of that sing-a-song bassy stuff. So I had a little jazz singing background.
Where did you go to school? Acting school.
I went to acting school to Harlem Y, 135th Street, between 7th and Leonard.
Stop.
In the 50s, yeah. Yeah.
Who was your teacher?
Ed Cambridge. He's out in L.A. now. He's the greatest. Then I studied with Vinette Carroll, who made me get even deeper. So I had very good teachers. And she was more downtown. She had a loft, I think, on 19th Street.
Okay.
So I was going from Harlem to 19th Street and into the jazz, shooby-dooby-doo.
Yeah, you're getting the whole
I
thing.
mean,
yeah.
it was so good. I've had such rich experience.
When we were talking a few moments ago, excuse me, about assessing the industry, and you made a calculated decision, an integrity decision, literally. What was it like as you moved through that? Were you tested? Did people...
Oh, it's like I went through fire. Because it seemed a point in my life where I could touch nothing and say, this is what I have. Well, at least I have my, and at least I got, my, I had nothing. It seemed like I was stripped. And then I got real clear. I wanted nothing to obscure or muddy what I was feeling. I wanted to be wide awake to watch this event. And my soul just deepened, and I realized that I could do without the car, I could do without the house, I could do without a lot of things, but yet I had enough. I had enough, So there's more to it, but in a nutshell.
Well, that's deep enough, believe me, it's deep. I mentioned before that you have a TV pilot coming out in the fall.
Yes.
Tell us about that.
There's a young African-American producer, writer named Kevin Sullivan who wrote an hour pilot about a group of youngsters in the inner city protecting the public. And it's called they changed the title, Night Watch. And I play the mother of one of the young men. And it's been sold to ABC. And it's an hour-long drama.
Drama?
Using us.
Different?
Yes. And it'll be coming on in the fall, 8 o'clock on Thursday nights, opposite the Cosby Show. But it's an hour drama, and everybody said, "Oh, how are you going to do this?" But we'll see. And it's a positive piece.
Okay.
It shows youth doing something very positive, but there are conflicts, because that's what makes the drama.
There have been a number of actors and actresses who have come across these microphones, and we've talked with them to try to assess the impact of Cosby in terms of how it winds up opening or what it winds up creating for other black actors and actresses. How do you assess the success of the Cosby Show in terms of its impact on you and other professionals like yourself?
Well, I did a Cosby Show.
I know, I'm aware of it. Yeah.
And on a very personal level, I appreciate it. When I was asked to do the show, one of the people on one of the crafts, the wardrobe woman, was concerned about my hair, because I wear my hair in its natural locked form.
That's another part of our conversation. But
and,
please go ahead. Yes.
She said, I don't know how to approach Bill. I don't know about your hair. Everybody gets nervous when I walk in with the hair, And he said to her, Rosalind Cash can wear her hair any way she wants to. And in the 12 years that I've been wearing my hair naturally locked, no one had ever said that to me. It was always, quote, a problem. It's no problem to me. But in the dealings with Hollywood and different shows, what are you going to do about her hair? And the first few years I did wear a wig. And then I used to try to pin it down. And my agent said, well, what are you going to do? You have so much hair, you can't get a wig on. I said, well, I guess I'm not going to play characters that wear wigs in T-Mode. Okay. What a relief for me.
Yes, I
because
understand.
it was always uncomfortable for me,
What about the decision to wear locks in an industry where you're already in a defined posture already?
They say, you really messed up now. And you ain't getting any younger kid. And you're a black woman. How could you do a thing like that? They're not going to like you. I heard all that.
I know you did.
Yeah. But it didn't change anything because I follow, my own muse,
What made you lock the hair?
I don't know. I tell you, I went to England and I cut it all off. I had changed it around to do Poitier's movie. Because the word got back to me that he didn't want his wife to wear braids or afro. And I'd been wearing the braids and the afro since the late 60s. And I was braiding it at that point. I was cornrowing it because I know how to cornrow my hair.
Okay.
And I was told that that was unacceptable for the film. So I began to press it, you know. And I get up in the morning.
Interesting term.
Burning my ears
Press
and
it.
stuff, you know,
Yeah.
for that look.
Yes.
That acceptable look, particularly in Hollywood at that time. And that look got me a few jobs. But for me, it was tedious because I never, even as a child, liked my hair pressed. I always liked the feel of my natural hair. And I did a play, a Fugard play with an actor named Zykes Mokai. And in it, I just kind of braided it, and I let the braids do their own thing. I just liked the feeling of it. You know? So the following year, I went to London to do a film, and when the film was over, I cut it all off. And I looked, and then I didn't comb it, and it began to do this dance, this beautiful thing. And I said, "This is beautiful," and it's like I saw myself for the first time.
I hear you.
I mean, going back beyond.
Yeah.
And I said, this is good. And that's why I did what I did. Afterwards, I mean, the repercussions were legend. I mean, ooh, look at, she's lost her mind. Well, you know, she's, you know, her mother died. You know, she went crazy. I mean, there were all kinds of, and, you know, it just puts me in touch with something that's ancient and beautiful, and it just.
Yeah.
You know.
Trying to be real in Hollywood. Amazing. What a story. Talk about a book.
But you know, it closed a lot. I mean, a lot of people dropped away from me, like skin, you know. And a lot of people didn't like my image. I was up for a role in an all-black movie, and they told my agent, "We don't like her image. She's too rootsy." And this is
it's an all-black movie.
Oh yes, one of the famous ones. And it was like they said, "You used to be so pretty," you know. And,
you
know,
used to be so pretty.
And then it came back to me that one very well-known African American actor said, "She's lost all her sex appeal since she did that." And I realized that whatever the sex appeal that was being projected in Hollywood, you know, in terms of the Western concepts, I wasn't really interested in that.
Or maybe I make a correction. He was a Negro producer.
Well, I don't
so
like to call names.
No, that's okay. I'll do it for you in this case. You got a few extra minutes?
Sure.
Okay, I want to open up the phones.
Okay.
For those of you who are listening, 692-9542 and the nationwide toll-free number 1-800-332-1023. My guest is Rosalind Cash, and I'm going to give you the chance to talk with her as well as we move towards news headlines and then come back with your comments and perhaps a bit more as a sister sort of educates us about the idea of what happens when you try to be real in Hollywood. We'll come back right after this with Rosalind Cash, live before 5 in the GBE, the Gary Byrd Experience. 1988. Rosalind Cash is our special guest. There's a little attachment next to her name that producer James Mitchell put there, right? He said, proud of her locks and will not get rid of them. And you heard her tell the story herself about her experiences in Hollywood. I mentioned before that she has a TV pilot coming out in the fall. What's the name of the pilot again, Rosalind?
I think it's Night Watch.
Night Watch.
It was called Knights of the City.
Okay.
And they switched the name a couple months ago.
All right. So
but it will be coming on in the fall.
In the fall. Okay.
ABC, 8 to 9.
Another story that I wanted you to share with us, and it was actually in the form of a question that I wanted to initiate it. We've been talking a lot about film. We move now to a conversation about TV pilot. What about theater? How do you feel about the medium of theater as a performer? Because it seems that with your kind of commitment, that theater would have a lot to offer for you.
Well, I do theater. I still perform in theater. I performed Shakespeare's Antony and Cleopatra last summer at the Los Angeles Actors Theater. And it was quite controversial because I was asked by the Los Angeles Times if I felt that the director was using me as a gimmick.
It's a gimmick.
To make Cleopatra a woman of color. I said, no, I think the other way was the gimmick. Don't think they liked that too much. And they did not like our play, and a European actress was doing it down the road. And, but it was a good acting exercise for me.
Okay.
Yeah. At first, I wasn't too keen on doing it. I just come back from Burkina Faso in a film festival in West Africa.
Yes.
And I had the script with me, and I couldn't get into Shakespeare's version of the Queen. But I hedged a lot. My friend said, no, you must do it. You must do this play. So I did it, and it was, like I say, quite an exercise. A lot of words.
Got it.
A lot of, like Richard Pryor say,
there we go, right? Exactly. Burkina Faso, you also had something happening there with the TV
they
film,
asked me to bring Sister there,
Okay.
and they played it in the bush for 200 Burkinabes, and they loved it. And it was
You were
in English.
great in that film.
Thanks. It was a
You were
good
great.
part.
Yeah.
It was a part that really challenged me.
Yeah.
You know, I don't get parts like that too often, but Maya wrote that part. You know, and it went over so well with the Burkinabes that they had to play it again. And Sankara, he set up another screening of something else. No, he gave a party that night, and we said, well, why aren't we going to see Sister? He said, well, you all have seen that. Our people haven't. You know? So the festival was for the people, and it was wonderful.
Have you thought about doing one-woman shows?
I wrote a one-woman show. And
what is it? Tell me.
Well, I wrote a show for Smith College. I was asked by a sister to come up to Smith College and do an evening of one acts. And I said, no, I think I want to write something. So I wrote a one-woman show. This was November, the end of the year, end of '86. And I took it up there, and it was a big success.
What was it? What was it?
It was about my life. A lot of the things I'm telling you, from my journey from Atlantic City to Hollywood.
So you mean I was going to come up with this great idea for you that you've already done?
Well, you know, I've been working. I've never stopped working on it. But like when I went to Burkina Faso, I was so full of culture and you know, the Africanness, and I wanted to get back on it. So when they asked me to do Shakespeare's Cleopatra, it's like I don't want to do that right now.
Yeah.
I want to work on my show. So I interrupted working on my show. But that experience is going to go into my show.
Yes, absolutely.
You see what I'm saying?
Absolutely, yes.
So it all works out. It's all connected.
Well, now, I'm going to take you a little bit further then, you know, because I want to see the show like a lot of other folks. What's the possibility of us seeing that?
Well, if I could
I know you've got your TV show, you got all this other stuff.
Well, my show expresses me. It's my ace in the hole. I mean, it's me expressing me.
Yes.
And I can say and do all the things that I can't do within most scripts. And I do a lot of the poetry I've written over the years, which I've kept in a closet. I even sing, and it's funny, and it's political, and it says everything I want to say.
What about a book in conjunction
Well,
with that?
I've had offers to write a book. If I could just sit down and do it, you know, I sit down and write a book, it comes out a poem. I do a book of poems. Yeah, I get very succinct, you know. But I think all of that will come out when it's time. You know?
Yeah. I think many of us, especially listening to you today, would love to have that full expression of yourself occur.
Well, it's coming out.
Got it. Okay, well, it's in the process. Let's take some telephone calls. A lot of folks lined up. Rosalind Cash with us live before 5 at WLIB. I'm Gary Byrd. Thank you for joining us. You're in the air. Go right ahead, please.
Yes, Hotep, Brother Gary.
Hotep.
Hotep, Sister Rise.
Yes.
Gary, you have many actresses on your show, but nothing like this. I am so proud today. And I just walked in, turned on the show, and right there is my favorite actress.
Thank you.
I love you, Rosalind. I think you are everything that I wish many of our other African actresses would be. You are great. And I would like to ask you something. Are you still in Hollywood?
I'm not in Hollywood proper, but I guess anyone who lives in Southern California is an actress or actor is considered a Hollywoodite. I live in Venice, a community, a beach community called Venice, California. I live near the ocean, and I try not to go into Hollywood or the Valley or any of the surrounding areas because I really like living by the beach.
Yeah. Well, will you be in New York in September?
I don't know. I was at an affair the other night, and I was asked to come in and work on a couple of projects with some people, and I said, if you bring me in, I will come. I have nothing planned in September. I mean, my calendar hasn't been filled that far up. In November, I will be going to Egypt.
Oh, you are?
Yes.
Tell us about that.
Well, I was asked to be, I should have the material. The PR people would really go nuts if they knew I didn't have the material with me. But I was asked to chair an organization who's doing a conference on illiteracy. And they just happened to have it scheduled for Cairo. Of course, I'm going to get out of town. You know, I got to get out of town. When I went to Burkina, I found the Tuaregs, the nomads, so I'm going to be getting out of town.
Yeah.
But it's going to be at the Cairo Hilton. But I've already plotted to get out of town.
You know, I'm asking you this for a reason. I'm a struggling playwright, and I have, so far the Creator blessed me. I have 2 plays coming out in September, and I would love for you to come see one of them.
Oh, well,
And it's going to be in New York, though.
Well, how would I know?
I would love to write you. I would love to write you and keep you informed. And, you know, that's one, I would love to have your name and your address.
Well,
and that's, but we're going to be advertising it, but still I would love to write you and maybe just get you here myself.
Well, I will leave my mailing address here. Is that okay?
It's fine.
And you can call the station, and I'd be happy to hear from you.
So to the caller, let me just say to you, what you might want to do is write a letter in care of me as well. And what I will do is make sure that we can forward that information to Rosalind, and maybe I'll meet her in Egypt since I like to go there too, and hook up and give her this big stack of mail that's going to be standing there for her, because I'm sure. Hey, have you been to Egypt before?
No, I haven't been to the northern part of the continent at all.
You are going to have a ball.
I've been to West Africa twice.
Yeah.
And each time I just wanted to go back to every country on the continent.
You should hook up with Dr. Ben.
I know, some friends of mine, in fact, no, I thought I was wearing a ring that a friend of mine brought me back from Egypt whilst I was doing Cleopatra.
Oh, well.
And I wore the jewelry in the play.
And said, this is the authentic thing.
Yeah, it was just some scarab pieces, quite beautiful. I knew a few people who went with Dr. Ben.
Sure.
I couldn't hook it up at that time.
Well, you may be getting hooked up with this date you're talking about, for all we know, right?
Yeah.
So you leave the address, and we'll make sure we get that, okay? 1190 WLIB, I'm Gary Byrd. Go right ahead, please.
Good afternoon, Gary, and good afternoon, Sister Cash.
Good afternoon.
I really want to tell you how much I admire you and I love you. I really believe you're one of our African queens in quote-unquote Hollywood, so to speak.
It's rough, that word.
Yeah. I wanted to know, you said that, you know, after you locked your hair, that a lot of people fell away from you.
Yes.
I just wanted to know if those people were were they personal to you, you know, or were they acquaintances, and were you surprised?
With some, I was quite surprised. With others, I was not surprised. It was not within my immediate family, but some family members, some people I was very, very close to. But you see, when they fell away, there's no void in nature. Others came into my life, which is time.
1190 WLIB. Rosalind Cash joins us live before 5 inside the experience. Go right ahead, please.
Hi.
Hi.
Listen, you know, I followed your career for many years, and I wasn't going to call, but I decided, I was going to, because I cast my vote for, I'd like to see you in a more sexual role than you've been. As I see it, you've evolved into a kind of a role of a teacher, and which means negating your sexuality. And as a woman, and being almost 40, I would like to see you doing a more sexual thing. I'm sorry.
Well,
maybe you negated it.
No, I haven't negated it, because Cleopatra, a lot of that was surrounded her aura. Was a part of her aura, but I want to know what you mean by sexual.
Yeah, well, you know, I've seen you in different roles on TV movies, and on Highway to Heavens, and all of that. You know, I would like to. I just feel that you've become more of a teacher kind of a thing at the expense of like trading off your sexuality. I would like to see you more sexual, frankly, because you're beautiful. I would like to see you in love scenes, and I'd like to ask you, why aren't you doing that? I understand what you're saying, but I'd love to see
Well,
you
in the
do
Hollywood context, I'm no longer hired for those kinds of roles, and most black women African women over 30 are not considered, as you say, sexual. So those roles aren't offered to us. I'm able to do them more in theater. A sexual role, to me, is not necessarily the same as having love scenes with say, an African man or any male on screen. Like I said, it's a mindset in Hollywood that if you're over a certain age, you are no... A lot of the roles that I am offered, because I am a mature woman, are roles which are maids, which I have no problem with it, but it's like you are relegated to that camp because you are a woman over a certain age and you are black. And I don't mind playing the teacher. I have been offered roles by independent producers which show me in a more, quote, sexual way. I have not consciously turned down roles in which you see me in an affectionate stance with a man. I haven't turned down one. I don't get offered them. And it might be because of the choice of the way I wear my hair, perhaps, or that I am a mature woman. And that doesn't give me any pain because it's not over yet.
Okay, live. 1190 WLIB, I'm Gary Byrd. My guest is Rosalind Cash. Go right ahead, please.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Hold on, I have to turn write it down. I would like to say thank you very much for Rosalind for wearing your hair in locks, because the same thing that you've experienced as far as people saying that you shouldn't wear your hair like this or being shunned away or whatever. A lot of African people feel, get that kind of flack when they want to wear afros or when they want to wear cornrows or locks and stuff like that. And I just want to say thank you for being one in Hollywood, the only one that I've seen, or quote-unquote Hollywood, that wears their hair like that.
Thank you.
Thank you for your call. WLIB, go right ahead, please. We're trying to get to as many callers as possible. All of our lines are well lit. Go right ahead, please.
Hi, Gary. To Miss Cash, I think she is the epitome of elegance. I love her.
Thank you.
Okay.
All right, thank you for your call. A lot of friends out there. Go right ahead, please. You're in the GBE with Rosalind Cash.
Hi, I'd like to express the same sentiments to Rosalind. I think you're really great.
Thank you.
And I love myself, so I love you too. And it's really sad that the people that you've associated with don't love themselves as Africans, so they couldn't appreciate you. And it's really sad that still exists amongst us. But I love you anyway.
Thank you for your call. WLIB, go right ahead, please. You're with Rosalind Cash.
Okay. Miss Cash?
Yes.
Yeah, I've been a fan of yours a number of years, and I just enjoy you in just about everything you do. Before I ask you a question, I also want to say that I liked you very much in the most recent thing you did on Frank's Place. I thought that was way out. Really enjoyable. What I want to ask you is about Europe. How did the racism manifest itself? And before you answer that, I want to say one thing over the air, is that I think you look, with your hair, the way you wear your hair, it's very sensual to me.
I second that, brother. That's right. Exactly.
Right now.
Exactly.
Thank you. I have no doubts about my sensuality. But in terms of the Hollywood concept of what is sexy, we call it TNA. You can imagine what I'm saying. That's not my thing, and I don't think that is the true expression of sensuality. We are sensual beings, and I feel I project that whether I'm doing one of those scripts or not. But I have no desire to be that image of sexuality.
The European side of the racism. And
London.
That too, yeah.
Yeah, London. I was asked to do a script playing a friend to the great European actress Glenda Jackson, whose work I admire very much. And when I accepted without reading the script, which I seldom do. And when I saw the script, there were images, there were lines that were so clearly racist, expressed such a hatred for the African in it, and I told my agent, I said, "There's no way I can do this part." He says, "But it's Europe, and it's a starring role, and it's with Glenda Jackson, and you'll be international." I said, "Well, I cannot, for love nor money, I cannot do this script." So he called London, and he said, "Oh, tell her to come over, we'll discuss it, and it'll be all right, we'll rewrite it." So when I got there, they said to me, "Who do you think you are? You know, we're not going to change this script. You know, you do this script or else. And what are you, some sort of racialist? Who do you think you are? Angela Davis?" They called me Angela Davis, Malcolm X, everything. So I called my agent. I said, "I'm not going to be this international star. I'm coming home." You know what I mean? So there are some other things that happened, how they tricked me out of my per diem and everything. But in the end, I went to the director and I began to change the things within the script.
Okay.
He said, "You're changing the script." I said, "I'm not doing what's written in the script. I'm just not doing it." So I changed my whole part around. My part was so well developed by the time I finished rewriting it that she was supposed to die. And they had to change it. But now when I see the film, I see the work I put into it. And when it first came out, I used to put it down. I said, "Oh, what a terrible film. Oh, I'm sorry I did it." But I worked hard. But I just simply refused to do it. I said, you can take me up on charges, you know.
What's the name of the film
It was
again?
called The Class of Miss McMichael.
The Class of Miss McMichael. Is it available in the U.S. market
they
at all?
showed it on one of the cable channels a couple of years ago, but it didn't last very long.
I'd like to get a copy of that.
Yeah.
Very seriously.
Yeah.
Your film, your TV pilot, I should say, is coming out in the fall. You're working on the one-woman show. We may get a book out of that. I really have to say to you, and I mean, I'm sure I join many people walking in and out to just say hello and so forth. I commend you.
Thank you.
I really do. And as one caller said, we've had a number of actors and actresses, and it's not to take anything away from them, because many of them have made immense contributions, I think, to all of us in terms of our understanding and so forth. But I don't think we've had yet the magic of this particular kind of moment. And I thank you for it.
Oh, thank you, Gary. It was really comfortable, and you're so gracious. And I felt like talking to you.
Well, I'm glad you did.
Okay.
Believe me, again. And the microphones are open to you, so whatever your stops are in New York or whether you're in California, you got something you want to talk with us on and new developments, you can call and you're on the air.
Oh, thank you so much.
And I mean that sincerely.
I might call back to give you that information about Egypt because I have all the information with me and forgot to bring it. And it's open to people. It's a very good deal.
Okay.
It's November the 15th to the 20th, and I'll call you back with the information.
That's fine. Let's do it.
It's, you know, some people might want to go for the holidays.
Well, you're in the network.
All right.
All right. So,
Thank you.
And you don't even have to change your hair.
You know, I do a whole thing in my show about it, and I used to cry from slings in the air. We laugh about it now, you know, what it is.
I love it. Thank you, sister.
Thank you.
All right, Rosalind Cash joining us this afternoon inside of the GB. Actually, here's something you can do with us before we go. I have this big thing. Yeah, hold on. Let me reach over here, folks. Okay, now. I know they're trying to get me some muscles lifting this stuff. What I have here is that we're going to pick up 5 postcards from our WLIB Family Card Summer Sweepstakes entries, and the winner is going to receive a lunch pack from Tasty Bakery consisting of patties and cocoa bread and Jamaican cold.